Today is July 4th, 2026. I find myself a few miles outside of Las Vegas, Nevada, celebrating this holiday with my wife's family. I'm very mindful on what the significance of this holiday is. And I had made plans to do something large because it's the 250th anniversary and all those kinds of stuff, and I have a tendency to plan big things. Other things came about, and I didn't get around to doing my large musical melody that I had wanted to make to celebrate this nation. But I find today the opportunity to begin this channel. I've, in many points in my life, been very loud and boisterous. And I find myself in that way in many regards today, in several different categories. But I try to be a little bit more prudent nowadays. But as my wife and I were studying the scriptures today, we came across, we decided to have our scripture study be about the title of liberty. And about a man who raised the title of liberty in memory of our God and our religion and our peace and our wives and our children. And I think a generation that is so primed to receive instant gratification via the internet or social media, or journalists who feed all of those instant gratification notions, that kind of a message would be quite important. There are things beyond ourselves that are of utmost importance for us to strive for and to preserve and protect. And I think that is a chief lesson that America 250 can learn. We want things quick. We want things now. We want things solved our way all the time. That's not how life works. That's not how liberty works. And all of the blessings that we have in this nation are often taken for granted. There's a proverb that I heard a while ago: you stand on the shoulders of giants and you think that you're flying. That's America 250 today. I was thinking about AI innovation and about how there's going to be a lot of good that comes from any kind of innovation, whether that be artificial intelligence or just improved technology. But the more that people rely on innovation, the fewer people there are to actually understand how certain systems worked. A long time ago, I was watching The Walking Dead, and the main characters came to this town that was a godsend to them. It had running water, it had automobiles, it had gas production, and it had everything that a small town might have in modern day America. And I thought to myself, how many people in a zombie apocalypse would actually have the know-how to build any of those things? And it kind of took me out of the story. That's kind of what's on my mind with technology nowadays in America 250. As we have more and more technology that makes more and more things readily available to the common man, what steps are we taking to make sure that we have in us the ability to get things done should that technology cease to exist for whatever reason? Are we prepared to handle the struggles of life without technological advances? That's my greatest worry with innovation and technological advances. Once again, not the presence of technology, not the things that they're going to replace. I don't think a lot of technology can thoroughly replace a lot of things. Even the sewing machine didn't replace hand sewing. Hand stitching is still stronger. It's still more desirable for a lot of different clothing. So I'm not incredibly worried about the complete and total overhaul of technology completely and totally obliterating all facets of our life. What I am concerned about is our over-reliance on convenience. In America 2026, how much do we strive for our own instant gratification instead of striving for something and putting things off just a little bit to get a little bit better situation for ourselves. I'm trying to not ramble on this. I have a tendency to be a fairly mindful person. And I decided to make this video because I've had a lot of my mind on how I should actually share my thoughts. So I think I'll conclude with this. In the Bible, it talks about the parable of the talents. And if we keep our talents under a bushel, or if we bury our talents, then we'll lose them. But if we use our talents, and we use our talents for good purposes, that's the key part, for good purposes, then they will yield fruit. I have lived a life of fear. I have lived a life that is in retreat, so to speak. I don't want to ruffle feathers. I don't want to lose friendships. All that kinds of stuff. But I think that I have a mind that can notice things that I think many people would find beneficial. So I think you're going to hear a little bit more from me. And there's that. I don't want to hide. I don't want to be fearful. I am. I'm afraid of many things. I'm a very small man. I'm a very weak man in many ways. But I don't want that to be the thing to prevent me from bringing good into the world. And so, I'm going to stop rambling, but I would instill upon all the watchers of this video to remember what it took to get you here. And most of it wasn't you. Most of it wasn't you. The founding of this nation was nothing short of miraculous. Not only did the revolutionaries overcome the British Empire, but they established a nation. And it took about 10 years to make sure that got solid and all that kinds of stuff after the war was done, with the Constitutional Convention and all that kinds of stuff. But this nation has become one of the most powerful nations in world history. Think about that. A bunch of farmers established the most powerful nation in world history. That doesn't just happen. That takes grit. That takes knowledge. That takes perseverance. And that takes prudence as well. There's many, many wonderful innovations to this nation that would not have happened had prudential minds not prevailed. I sure hope that that's the right word. If it's not, you can roast me. But, yeah. Remember what it took to get you where you are, and most of it was not you. I try to remember that on this holiday. I try to remember the family that I've lost. I try to remember the soldiers that have fought so that we can be able to have a barbecue out in the yard without fear of danger from enemy forces. I try to remember the people that brought about all of the wonderful things that we enjoy on this holiday. I try to even remember roads, because dirt roads coming to this campground were a bit sketchy. So that's enough rambling. That's enough rambling. I love you guys. I love you all. This is a message on the 4th of July from your friend and brother, Preston Oxenhurt. I'll see you around.